What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 50, the Big 5-0 of the single-player Let's Play series. So this episode, I think it's about time we do an automatic weather farm. I haven't done one yet. In fact, I've never done one at all. I came up with a really cool design, though, and so I think it's going to work out just fine. There we go. So we can import this now. And boom, we have a blueprint. And the blueprint is going to require some SuperCircuitMaker stuff, of course. So if we go here, we're going to need 2 quartz resonators. One of these is not like the other, so I'll just make a few of these. Why not? Just to be sure, because I don't know which one is which, so and they're not difficult to make. Did not distribute that right at all. Okay, so that one is a custom circuit, and this one is normal. Cool. So we wanted a few quartz resonators, some of the tiny piles, and we can make a few more. We don't really need a lot for this. This is a pretty straightforward circuit, actually. So the circuit actually is intended specifically for making, well, it's for part of the killing mechanism of my wither farm that I have planned. So we'll need some ender pulsars, and I think short of a lever, and I think that's it. I don't think I used any redstone torches. Yep, there we go. So there's the circuit. And so the circuit literally just takes in an input. In fact, this is not even necessary. That was debug that I forgot. But it takes in an input, and everything is timed perfectly. I spent a lot of time making sure that I got the timings right. But the input is going to come from the push from the redstone input that will spawn the wither. And it'll wait long enough here, 240 ticks, which is 12 seconds, for the wither to turn into the attackable kind. And then for 15 seconds, it's going to let this pulsar run. And so now that we have our circuit made up, we're going to want a few things. We're going to want the, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. At ActuallyAdditions, we want a few things, actually. So this is going to require 2 atomic reconstructors. And short of the 2 atomic reconstructors, we're also going to want 2 of the lens of the killer. And I have not made these before. These aren't that difficult to make. It's going to use a sharpness 5 book, though, so we want 2 of them. And I think you can kind of see that this is going to be, you know, not a easy peasy crafting recipe by any means, but I like that. I like it when I'm given a challenge. So let's hop down here. We're just gonna borrow some power from our power line here, just very temporarily. Well, I was hoping that would face down. There we go. And so now we can take our lens and let it get hit by that. And so this will get us a lens of color, but that's not really what I'm interested in. And so the next tier gets us the lens of certain death. And then, oh, it looks like it loops all the way back around to just a plain lens again. Interesting. Well, no big deal. So, yeah, there's the lens of certain death, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for this to craft the next guy. This is the lens of detonation. Probably won't ever use that, honestly. And now we can steal these back and recover those. So with the lenses of certain death, all we need now is 2 sharpness 5 books. So let's go ahead and get 2 books and quills and a lot of quartz. How am I doing on quartz? I'm not actually doing too hot, so what I should probably do is just take a stack and go get that, and we're going to get some lapis. So I'm just going to go really quickly, hop over, duplicate some quartz using the conjuration catalyst, and make ourselves 2 sharpness 5 books. I'll be back when we have them. So there we are. We have not 1, but 2 lens of the killers. These are going to be really useful because these do some pretty good bits of damage. So we're also going to want to get some conduits for power. We're going to want plenty of redstone conduits. So let me get about a stack of these. Do I want to do just a stack? Let's do 2 stacks because I'm going to probably end up needing them. And then we also want, we're going to need a few phantom blocks. So we want a phantom placer, which Oh good, we actually have an extra phantom face. And so now all we need is the auto placers, which I should probably teach this thing how to make, but that'll be okay. So it was the simple coil for the auto placers, right? Yep, good. So we're gonna want, let me think about this. I believe we wanted 4 of these. And then we want, actually we only want to keep one of them in there for the phantom placer. The other ones we can use as is. And then we just want to get mechanical users. We'll grab 3 of these, so we're going to need 3 droppers and 3 levers. And we should be coming up on our conduits now, a few of them at least. And I'm trying to think if there's really anything else. We're going to need a few repeaters, but not, maybe 2, but not really a lot. And then just some plain redstone. And so at this point, I don't really... Oh, actually, I did forget one other thing. Let me go ahead and grab a power cell. And a power cell link card. And of course, do my usual link up. Set it to output on all sides, just because you usually either do output or input. Not much of a combination of either. And I guess all we need now is just a button, which it happens that we have. And if I have any more conduit, I'll grab it now while it is done. Okay, so I have no idea where I should build this. So for now, I'm going to build it in a temporary location. Keep in mind, temporary, completely temporary. This guy has been living down here for a long time, and I think he deserves a friend. Just kidding. I don't think he needs a friend at all. But I do think that he deserves at least a little something. So we'll give him a little space. And this is a surprisingly compact build, if you can't imagine already. The design that I have, I made up completely by myself. There are other mods that I could have done this with. I could have done this with RF Tools, but I didn't want to copy anybody. I wanted to do my own unique design. And I think this actually turned out to be a pretty good one. So, clearing out this little area here. Hopefully our sheep friend doesn't get in the way, but we've got a 7x7 room is what I'm going to hope for. We don't actually even need that much space. Uh-oh. Well, we might not even get that much space. It looks like we've run into the back wall here. Oh well, we can take advantage of this. So what we'll do is we can, because we should probably decorate this room anyways, at least a little bit. You know me, I like to keep things nice and decorated. So why don't we go ahead and do that, and let me get myself some light here. Sorry you guys, I'm sure you can't see anything at all. So if we conjure some light, that should be better, right? And so, normally I don't do a lot of the decoration on camera, but I figure why not? We'll dedicate this entire episode to doing a automatic wither farm. So, with that being the case, I'm not really going to try to cut things out because it's not like I've got a lot of things that I want to get done this episode. Pretty specifically just going to work on this. So I don't know how much longer the Let's Play world is going to be actively played on, I hate to say. I've been really busy with school lately, and I think it's just going to get worse as the semester progresses. As you guys know, I've been kind of doing an every other day schedule, but I haven't had any time for backlog whatsoever. So it's been more of like an improvised, oh crap, I need to get an episode out, so let me quickly force myself to sit down and play. Excuse me. I've been ridiculously busy with classes, and I feel bad for saying it, but I kind of haven't had time for games or anything. I've got, you know, not too much time, or not too much longer until I'm done with school, fortunately, but it's still, until then, going to be kind of a struggle. So, especially with my major, computer science is, I mean, it's no easy class by any means. If anyone tries to tell you that it is, then, you know, well, the class is easy, but I'm talking about the entire major is kind of difficult. So, you know, that's just kind of where things stand right now. I'm going to try, like I said, to keep these up, but there's no promise. I may have to switch to an every 3-day schedule. I don't want to drop off the face of the planet, but I also don't want to in any way affect my grades for YouTube videos. Sorry, I like you guys a lot. I love my community, but I can't sacrifice my own grades for making videos, and I never will. Sorry, that just isn't how I do things. So we're gonna have to move our friend here. It looks like he's very convinced that he wants to hang out. So let's go over here and grab a lasso. I think we have a... Yep, we do lasso. Oh, that's not what I wanted. We'll pick him up in the lasso and we'll move him whenever we're done working on everything. We'll pick him back up, or put him back down rather, when we're done working. We'll put him safely in our backpack. So we're going to need probably right here and here is where we'll put down our reconstructors. And I didn't think to bring a redstone torch, so I should grab one because these guys will need to be, a lot of things will need to be toggled. And I got myself the phantom placer already, so that's excellent. You know, one thing that I didn't think to get is item conduits with a few filters. We'll want, well, seven filters. So let's heat those real quick. It shouldn't take long. Auto crafting is fast. And we'll quickly take a nap. Alright, so we will want to put down our atomic reconstructors here. We'll want to set these to pulse mode. And we'll give them the lens of the killer that we made earlier. And then we need to assemble the same sort of wither safety system thing that I made earlier. It's not really that difficult of a design if you don't remember. It was literally just 2 blocks with 3x3 and then an extra block on top to capture the wither skull because his head will glitch through otherwise. And so that's part of why this room has been so tall. Go ahead and make up a few more stone bricks. And so now we have a place where we can safely spawn the wither. And these detonators on the side, or these, not detonators, but the reconstructors with the lens of the killer will help us out with taking the mobs down. They're going to need a redstone signal though, so we'll want to get that handled as well, and that's part of where the circuit that I designed off camera and in my test world comes into play. So we'll go ahead and just make sure that these guys are connected, and then we can just go ahead and pipe down our conduit. And probably somewhere in the middle, like right around here, we'll go ahead and put down our power cell. And with the power cell put down, we will have no problems with making sure that everything is getting power. Boom. So this guy's going to start getting power, this guy's going to start getting power. And so the button will probably be somewhere like, I don't know, over here. And we can just very simply... Surprisingly, I'm probably going to just use vanilla for this. Vanilla wiring. Sometimes I prefer vanilla wiring, depending on what the circumstances are. So the... Let's see. Our signal is going to be coming from here, so we will just staircase it down. And I think if I hook that up right, then... Yep, good. So that's going to turn on. And it's going to need to fork off in 2 different directions. So first direction is going to have our circuit, and it looks like that is actually already facing the correct way. And then the second way is going to be going over here-ish. And so the reason that we wanted everything set up the way it was is because we're going to have the following. We're going to have our phantom placer right here. We're going to want it, let's see, pulse mode. And in pulse mode, it's got a range of 3 blocks, so if we grab ourselves a phantom connector, the problem with the setup that we have is the fact that I have no way of placing a block right here. So if I take this guy and phantom bind it, now we can place a block from this block here onto here. Now what I want to do is set this to place down, and now if I, we'll change it off of pulse mode. If I put a piece of dirt here, it's going to place a piece of dirt there. And that's exactly what we wanted. So we're going to change this back to pulse mode. And then we're going to put a redstone repeater down right there. And the redstone repeater is just going to make sure that there's a strong signal coming through that block. Because the reason we want a strong signal, of course, is because we just want to make sure that the signal can pass through it. Now the problem that I just realized is that I should probably move this down a block, because I need a solid block there. And while I can probably try to use a conduit facade, I don't think that actually works. I think I've already tried that before, trying to place redstone on top of a conduit facade. But that's no big deal. These are very easy to move, and if I do that, then that's a safe way of moving that, and I can actually just do this right here. Vanilla redstone is fun. People don't really appreciate it the way I think they should. Not whenever you have a lot of mods. And so we will need to place our power cell down again, but that's no big deal. And our conduits should all go back in place. Perfect. I think we should be good. And now, if I just kinda sorta cover that, not completely, because of course we don't want to cut off the redstone signal, but if we somewhat cover it, then we have some space left. So, the rest of the space is going to be used for a few other things. We're going to have our, remember how I mentioned that we have the signal that's going to be pushing through here? So we're going to use our Yeta wrench here, and pick up the signal through the other side of this block. So if we press this, you'll see that as the signal goes through, even though there's a little bit of a delay, that it's going to still manage its way through. So at this point, what we can do is the following. Not what I wanted at all. Why have you started triggering? Oh yeah, because I pressed the button. Oops. Well, there you go. Now you can see how this entire system works. Pretty cool, huh? So that's how long it'll take to kill a wither, by the way. And so now what we can do is the following. You gotta be kind of careful with the connections. It's gonna want to connect every which way, and we're gonna want it not to connect every which way. So it's kind of funny how that's gonna work out, but we can totally combat it, no problem. We're kind of running into the wall here. I just realized, but I think we'll just have to deal with it. Honestly, I don't think we have much of a solution. But what we can do here is, of course, set redstone pulse. We're going to want it to right-click or place block, and we can just do random slots. So pulse and place block, pulse. So now whenever we get... Essentially, here, I can show you real quick with just some dirt. If I fill all of these up with a piece of dirt, just one, for the sake of testing. And I'll disconnect this because I don't want it to start making my reconstructors go off. If I press the button, boom, it places down 4 pieces of dirt, just like the shape of the soul sand that we're going to want later. Now, part of this, of course, also is going to involve making sure that we get our item conduits hooked up to all of these things, so we're going to have to make sure that we're doing that just right. And I forgot to grab any soul sand, but that's okay. We can work on that later. We're going to have to, unfortunately, break into the wall just a little bit, but that's okay, because the last part of this is making sure that we get our wither skeleton skulls placed down. So we're going to set these 3 auto placers down and set them all to pulse mode. Going to hook them all up to conduits. and make sure these conduits are set to their proper input-output state on the top. So we will make sure that all of these are set. Whoops, there we go. Do that and do that. And now we're going to set this guy to repeat, so that way the skulls are placed very last. And at this point, all we should have left is just making sure that everything is set to the right filters. And I think we might actually be pretty close to testing this. So we'll grab 3 stacks of wither skeleton skulls, some soul sand. That was weird. Okay, I'm not even sure what happened there, but that works. And we'll just want to make sure that these things are filtered properly. So we're going to tell these guys to insert, and we're going to, let me see. Yeah, you know one thing I did forget to get as well? My bad. We want to get a speed downgrade. So the speed downgrade will make sure that the round robin stuff works out pretty well. Do I not have any slime? Oh, you know what? I bet my discs are getting defragmented right now. Yep, they certainly are. Alright, I should wait until that's done. Alright, item speed downgrade is done. And so now we can set all of these guys to insert. And these are going to be whitelisting our wither skeleton skulls. And then we can just route some item conduits down and over. And then we'll set this guy to insert our soul sand, whitelist. And do the same thing for this one, and I think we'll only have one last one at this point. Insert whitelist, and insert whitelist soul sand. Perfect. So now, all I need to do is just get some method of input for these, so we can probably just route this over this way somewhere. So we can put a silver chest back here. I was working on dressing this up earlier. I just didn't know if I'd be able to still use it or not. So if we did put a conduit facade down and tell it to extract, but what we want to do is we want to do a speed downgrade, extract always active, but round robin enabled. So this should mean that if I put in 4 of you and 3 of you, each one of these should be getting exactly 1. I'm really confused as to where some of these got to. Oh, it already placed these down? Did I forget to tell these to go in pulse mode? I guess I did. Whoops. Well, it definitely seems to have worked, so that much is nice. I forgot to put these in pulse mode, though. That was pretty critical. I'm glad that the testing process caught that. And so now at this point, I think we're actually pretty much good to go. I just need to do a few little minor bits of cleanup. But fortunately, because of the way that the wither is captured in this setup, at least in my testing, this does not have any effect whatsoever on, or rather, the wither's normal explosive nature doesn't have any effect whatsoever on the environment, which is kind of crazy, but also very useful. So I'm just going to make sure that everything here is as filled in as possible. That's just kind of how I like to keep things. And I think we might almost be ready to test. I should probably find a better way to light this room up. Unfortunately, that's a little bit difficult to do. And then just for the sake of keeping everything looking good, I actually made some conduit facades for the other side. So at least from the track, it looks good. And I should be able to, I can't put anything there, but if I put something there, we should be good. Yeah, good. And now if I just do this, we have everything should be in proper placing mode. And I just at this point want to put in a roof. Because yeah, I've noticed as long as you don't put anything within this 3x3 area, it doesn't seem to really, the wither doesn't seem to really get too upset. So that's actually mighty convenient. And I think if I remember Minecraft mechanics properly, I can put a stair here and still open the chest. Perfect. And so now I can just go ahead and put these in here, and each one of these is now going to start getting one at a time. And if I just light this up one more time, conjure light in the corners, I guess, we should be able to push a button, get our wither spawned. Oh, I should put a sound muffler here. I didn't think about that. And then just about as soon as it spawns, we will be able to kill it very quickly, as you can see. Uh-oh. So it didn't seem to kill it completely that time, so I'll just have to make a minor modification to the circuit down here. But that's no big deal. As for everything else, I would say that was a pretty big success. So let me just quickly fix this circuit up. It seems like I should just keep it running for a little bit longer. Oops, that was not at all what I wanted to do. Psy needs to stop that. It's still annoying. Let me think. So that was set like this. And then if I set you to, I had it at 15 seconds. Let's try 18, just to be on the safe side. And of course, there's a few other small things that are still missing, and the number one thing that I can think of that's still missing is just the fact that there isn't an automatic pickup system, and that's actually not very difficult to solve at all. As for our wither skeleton skulls, I don't think moving that's going to make a difference, so we'll just go and let this filter through. You can see we should end up with about a stack of soul sand in all of these. So that's pretty exciting. And we're using some grid power right now. I don't even really know how, like usual, but I don't really care. And so now we should start getting wither skeleton skulls, but that's cool. Let's try this one more time. While that's doing that, I should probably be a little more consistent. So this is doing 20 hearts of damage each time, so this is actually pretty cool to watch. And it doesn't use a ridiculous amount of power to do this. It uses about 1000 RF each time we do that. And so now all we have to do is have an auto pickup method and a... what else? What else? Really just an auto pickup method and... Let's see. Let's set this to in-out, and then it'll insert on brown. And let's go make a range collector. We'll do an auto pickup method and a sound muffler. And then I think this episode will actually be pretty successful and pretty much done. Sorry that it's not really been too crazy, but you know, that's just kind of how things go. So we'll need a hopper and a casing. Ranged collector. So now if we just, oh, actually didn't want to go there at all. One of the problems with the whole flying thing is sometimes you're just great at it and other times absolutely awful. So what we can do, I guess, is if we come over here somewhere kind of close, we'll do right here. How about that? We'll put the range collector down. We'll tell it to whitelist nether stars. So if I throw a nether star down, it should pick it up. And then if I configure the conduit on top to extract on brown active without signal, then we should, in theory, get a nether star back in here in return for putting our 4 soul sand and our 1 wither skeleton skull down. So now all we need to do is, because I am a man of precision, I'm going to go directly underneath, directly underneath the actual spawning area here, if I can, very carefully, and put it down right here. That way, a good majority of the sounds can still be heard, but hopefully, specifically, the wither won't be. Let's try it one more time, just for fun. So definitely a lot quieter so far. I think the summon sound will still be just as loud as before, but who cares? No, actually no summon sound at all. And I can tolerate a few explosions, just not having to hear all of this craziness is pretty nice. And there we go. Nether star. Alright, well, that was pretty cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it an episode there, though. I think this was a nice, unique method of doing this, using a variety of different mods, but quite a bit of ActuallyAdditions, actually. And honestly, I've got to say I'm really happy with how this turned out. I was trying to think of ways to kill it kind of cheesily. Like I said, you can use RF tools if you really want to. Not that difficult. But I wanted to do something a little bit different. And the first thing that I wanted to really try was the Killer Joe, but it doesn't seem to work. So, yeah, this was my second best shot that I could think of because I couldn't get mechanical users to work on it either. And it certainly worked out, I would say. So I don't think I'm going to rely on that all that much, but I mean, I certainly could make an auto-crafting system for the network here if I wanted to, and just say, hey, if I request another star, shoot stuff over there, and then send a redstone signal. And as soon as it does, it should be good. So that'll be pretty much it, though, for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep episodes up. Worst case scenario, I mean, if we look at the absolute worst case scenario, we'll be down to 1 video a week. But hopefully I can keep it up with 1 every 2 or 3 days. Oh yeah, and I did a tier 5 altar in between episodes just because it's really easy to do for us at this point. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.